What's up guys, welcome back to another God of High School video. Today I'm talking about the former 6 and the current 6 in the God of High School manhwa and anime. If you're new here and enjoy God of High School, consider subscribing and checking out my other content and also joining the Discord to talk more about its greatness. The video won't have any major spoilers until later on when I talk about the current 6 in the manhwa, so I'll put a spoiler warning for that, and as a whole there will only be light spoilers throughout the video. So the 6, also known as the Human Culture Organization, are the group of people who can be considered the highest level of masters in their own given fighting style at any point throughout the series. So near the start, where I'll talk about first the original 6, they're pretty much the best at each of their fighting styles until they either lose their life or they step down, where someone will need to replace them who is the next best in line at that fighting style once they pretty much lose that, or if they get defeated in battle by someone using the same fighting style, they will replace them. The group was also founded by the lady known as Kim, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce the rest of the name. A lot of characters throughout the God of High School, and this will be a common occurrence for the rest of my videos, is me trying to pronounce the characters' names, which, as you know if you watch my Kengan content, isn't strong, and the names throughout the God of High School is even more hard, except for, you know, judges such as Judge Q, Judge O, and so on. So, you know, that I can say that, but half these other names I'll probably just put them on screen who I'm talking about and, you know, give my best struggling attempt to pronounce it. So I'll go over the background. So as I mentioned, they're known as being the highest level of masters in their own styles, and they seem to be special and somewhat secret to the rest of the world, with the secret element more being the connection between the people in the 6. Like, many of the characters are public figures that are known around the world, but the connection of all them being the 6 is the secret element of it. They are mostly hired to complete difficult tasks that not an ordinary person will be able to complete, and they only answer to the president and are rumored to be given enormous sums of money, with Park Mujin, whatever you want to call him, previously acted as the coordinator of the 6. Otherwise, throughout the rest of them, they pretty much live their own lives in secret, doing what they want, with many of them being heads of companies, heads of different groups, and they only come together when they needed to. And it's also good to mention, every 10 years, the 6 would fight among themselves to see who gets the title of Special Human, who will be considered the best fighter of the group, in turn could be considered the best fighter alive currently. Around 17 years prior to the start of the God of High School anime slash manhwa, the 6 were hired to retrieve Jin Tajin, the grandfather of Mori Jin, our protagonist, but failed to do so as they were defeated by the absolute Chad old man, which was a pretty much major plot point throughout the early parts of the manhwa, and as you'll see if you're watching the anime currently. As a whole, at the current point in the story, from what I've seen from reading the manhwa, there's been around 13 members of the 6, but as a whole there's only 6 people part of the 6 at any one time, but as a whole throughout time there's been 13 members altogether. Now I'll talk about the former members of the 6 before I get into the current 6. Be warned, this is where some light spoilers and some possible major spoilers will take place, so if you're not fully caught up to date on the manhwa, probably stop watching this video here and subscribe of course, and stay tuned for the next video. But if you are or don't care, let's go. So we have Kim, who was the member and founder of the 6, who could be considered the most powerful former member of the 6. As we know, she was killed in the Ragnarok, or died during the Ragnarok stage of the story. She could be considered one of the most powerful and probably the best or closest human when it comes to possessing godly abilities, or abilities that are closest to the actual gods. We have the most seen character, which is Park Mujin, who we see throughout the story and was the organizer of the God of High School tournament, or the original tournament, in the first half of the story, everything that takes place involving that, with his skill being with combat and his unique style with that cross imprint and everything involving that. Up next we have Pong King, who was pretty much, I consider, one of the oldest characters alongside Kim, Kim's over 1,000 years old, but one of the oldest characters who was part of the 6, who was 67. He also lost his arm against the grandfather of Jin Mori 17 years prior to the start of that, which led him down the path of revenge. He is pretty much the divine doctor, or the doctor of the 6, who has the best healing abilities. We have Jianja Sen, who was a chairman of a big company and also can be considered a living national treasure, with him being an expert at using borrowed power. We have Sung Ji-sa, a member of the 6 who was formerly defeated by Kim Do-shik, another member of the 6 later on that I'll talk about very soon. Not much as a whole is known about him. that he was defeated by a former member of the Six, but while doing so he was able to do some real damage, such as taking one of his opponent's eyes, but he was defeated. Up next we have my personal favorite member of the former Six, Theo Henryang, probably butchered that name, who was a member of the Six, and he was the 27th leader of the National Homeless Association, and he was the weapons expert of the Six and capable of using national treasures as well, with him being an absolute Chad. If you read the manhwa, you know of his Chadness, and you know the leader of the National Homeless Association. The fact that there's a National Homeless Association in the verse of the God of High School is greatness, and everything about him is top tier greatness. We have Kim Do-shik, the person who defeated the other member of the Six, who is most known for his physical combat ability. He does have other elements, but he's best physically when it comes to combat of the original former Six, and that's the former members of the Six prior to currently of the God of High School. Now I'll talk about the current Six, which will involve major spoilers, so be warned. I won't go into much detail about these ones as I'm going to be working on individual videos about many of these characters, but the current Six is Han Da-wi, a main character, Yumira, another main character, Park's second Pyro, Lee So-jin, Judge O, and Judge Q. So they're the current Six in the manhwa for their respective abilities, which somewhat replace the former Six members, but many of them expands upon the former Six members, with them being much stronger due to events in Ragnarok and other stuff that happened in the story. It's also good to mention the Six may be considered the strongest, but the strongest when it comes to human, as many of them, they can go up against gods, but the higher end gods don't really become part of the Six, and the Six are mostly reserved for fully human characters. So that's everything for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know down in the comments. Let me know how I can improve these videos down in the comments as well. Leave a like, subscribe, join the Discord, and that's it guys. Peace.